Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper. There's another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Well, it is the morning of Tuesday, October 18th, and it is past the embargo time for some great news. We're getting some more champion rebalances, and I haven't had a chance to look through all of them. I saw the first one and I'm kind of interested, but let's go through it. You know me, I want to see the epics, so what we'll do is we'll pop into here and we'll bring up the actual changes and we'll see in real time whether or not this is going to be good. So the first one is we have Black Knight. This is a pretty simple, long overdue change. This right here, Last Breath. So Black Knight was garbage, hot trash, and then he got a buff and it made him okay, but still kind of underwhelming. But this potentially could make a difference. It's simply changing his attack modifier from HP to attack to be in line with his A1. Now we have someone with a provoke 75% chance. I still feel like this should book to 100, but has a 75% chance of placing a provoke, has a continuous heal and an increased defense on a 2-turn cooldown. Pretty strong. Also has this passive that places unkillable for 1 turn if incoming damage exceeds 15% of his max HP in 1 attack on a 2-turn cooldown. And then most importantly has this attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to the amount of HP lost, but it was an attack-based modifier. You see his attack is 914. It made no sense. It was stupid. So they're changing that to HP. Whether that makes him a nuker remains to be seen, but potentially this could be a really good arena defense or go second team if you can get him to lose some damage but proc that unkillable. Very similar to Leorius in a way. Obviously this guy can be frozen and all that stuff, so Leorius is still much stronger than this, but there is potential that his damage could be higher based on the HP. You can give him over 100, like 22 470. Gosh, you could get this guy to 120 130k HP easy in a bolster set. Bring him into arena on a defense. He loses. If he doesn't lose damage, who cares? He can put up his A2, and then once he takes that damage, or conversely, you don't put shields. You keep his defense as low as possible and just crack that HP as high as possible, so he loses that HP and then cracks back. We'll see what the damage is. I'm cautiously optimistic that this is going to improve him. The next one, though, is something I am excited about, and I'll tell you, I was going to do kind of a tier list. I know it's scary to say tier list, but I got through a part of it, and I just really wasn't feeling the vibe. It was taking way too long. I'm not going to give up on that. I want to do the ultimate tier list, because I feel like I'm the ultimate resource for epics. I've built, I would argue, built probably more than any other content creator, and tested more than any other content creator, because of all the bad ones I've built. And I do it without the test server. Tell Hades. I'm just kidding. I love you, man. I don't know why. I just picked you because you're the king. You're the GOAT. So Juliana, next up. I was talking about her when I was trying to record, trying to work through a tier list thing, and I talked that the problem is that she used to be really good, but she's been outpaced by the content. She's been outpaced by everything. So this here is actually going to be pretty big. We have Lethal Partner. Let me scroll it down here. I can't look at both at the same time, unfortunately. But Juliana, her succor, she is sucker. Oh, that's Romero. Sorry. Lethal Partner decreased from 5 to 3. This was one of the things I said. Is look, the cooldowns are too crazy, but 3-turn cooldown, increased crit rate. It's a 2-turn. See, there's still a problem with this. It's an increased crit rate and then attacks one enemy. Yeah, God, why do they not read their own? Okay, so here's the problem: is this increased crit rate is still useless, right? Because you're gonna crit cap her unless this crit caps her, but it's only a 1-turn increased crit rate. So great, there's ignores 50% of the defense when Romero's on the same team. That's good. The poison debuff for 3 turns if the attack's critical is good, but you're not going to build her for 70% just so 1 turn out of 3 you can actually crit with her. That's just, do they not read their own shit? I swear to God. I'm gonna say something in the content creator, because that is just stupid when there's so many champions that buff their own crit rate and do it properly, and this one doesn't. But whatever. It's just useless. It's a useless buff. All it's going to do is get her killed in like a Hydra situation. Although she might be good in Hydra. So the other one here, this is good. It goes from 5 to 4. And more importantly, it removes all buffs from the target. Here it removed one random buff. Now it's going to remove all buffs and then have a 75, 85, 95, 100% chance. Just want to make sure. A couple of them are 95%, you know, like Stagnite. So it has a 100% chance of placing that HP burn for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown with a complete cleanse or strip. Sorry, I think that's really good. I think that makes her really good. This attacks one enemy. Each critical hit fills this champion. See, she needs that critical hit. So if they could just change this crit rate to a 2-turn, right? That starts the count on the next turn, much like Whisper, much like a couple of the other champions. Of course, none of them are coming to mind other than Whisper right now. So that this buff is 100%, still can be removed. They can still mess around with it, but at least it's 100% uptime, so that you can build her for 70% crit rate. Would be nice. So I'm gonna bitch about that. Wow, cautiously mentioned it. She is a good champion. She hits really hard. She's got really good speed stat, decent attack stat, 60% crit damage. So I think this makes her better. If they can fix that A2, it makes her really good, I think. It makes her really usable, in my opinion. And the Romero 50% decrease, ignores 50% target defense with, and you can see if you've been paying attention that right below, Romero is also getting a buff. So Romero, I actually like Romero. I think he's underrated. So I'm really excited to see that Romero's getting a change here. So Sakura places a continuous heal on all eyes for 2 turns. Steals 1 buff from a random enemy. What are they changing it to? Books. Oh, good. So, what? Oh, when booked. So, decrease from 5 to 4, 3 when booked. So, that's good. Yeah, that just puts it in place, right? It's a 3-turn cooldown on a 2-turn continuous heal. That makes it much better. And steals 1 buff from each enemy. That's a big deal. And then Divine Benefaction, 6 to 5, 4 when booked. So, it's just the cooldowns again. Places shield buff on all allies equal to 25% of their max HP. Places 60%. So they're changing this to the big defense. That's good. That's actually really good. I already thought he was a really good champion. This just makes him that much better. To be perfectly honest, I think that makes it really good. Aina, oh, she's another one that I very much dislike because she's just poorly designed. So let's see if they fixed Aina. Hello, Aina. All right. Ferocity attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 15% chance of granting. Ooh, a 15. Ooh, you guys are crazy. Come on now. But here we go. Bloody Swath, 5-turn cooldown to a 3-turn cooldown. Attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance of placing a weaken for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So against boss levels, that's 100% uptime on weaken. That makes her pretty potentially usable, I would say. Depending on how good you can make her damage. And then Overmaster from 5 to 4, so it's a 4-turn cooldown. Attacks one enemy, has a decreased defense debuff for 3 turns, heals the champion by 10%. By 30%. Oh, so this actually, she's really good now. I think this might make her usable on boss fights, boss targeted fights. She has a decreased defense on a 4-turn cooldown. I wish I would have just made that 3 as well, but whatever, we can live with that. So she has a 1-turn off on the decreased defense. She has a 100% uptime on the weaken, and gets a couple small chance to get an extra turn on the A1. Accuracy and faction grips. Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think she's usable. I'll be excited to. I have one built. I'll be excited. I can't remember if I actually did a video on her yet, but if I haven't, I'll be excited to do a video once this drops. And that's it. There's the 4. So. Yeah, so I think Black Knight is we have to see. Black Knight, we don't know. That's who knows. Juliana, definitely better. If they can tweak that A2 properly, then it'd be amazing. Romero, I think, was already underrated before the changes. This just makes him a really, really strong support, especially with Juliana, because remember, they get those extra abilities when they are together, and a lot of the time it's kind of, you know, there's a couple high-profile ones, like, of course, Siphi and Rhodos are really good here. Venus and Cupidus, since their buff has been really good. But this is one that I think people should pay attention. when they're together on the same team, he will attack all enemies 3 times, stun set, right? Poison set, I guess, maybe. Like, depends on what you're doing. I see him as a possible, the duo as a possible Hydra Boss duo, because this guy's bringing some good stuff. He's bringing now the big increase defense with the shield. He's bringing a continuous heal. And this little baby continuous heal. The only problem is it's on the ally with the lowest turn on this baby continuous heal. So if you're going to use them in Hydra, you probably have to do a full resistance team instead of a targeted resistance team. What I mean by that is the Head of Mischief will aim for the one with the most buffs, but this is going to mess up that kind of targeting. So your whole team is probably going to have to resist that. May make it a bit less fun, a little bit more difficult. But I do like the idea. I think I might try the 2 of them. I have them both built. I've done videos on both of them. So rather than doing redo videos on both of them, why don't we put them together in one video in the Hydra? Maybe bring in a Hex champion and just go crazy, right? We'll see what goes on with that. But I think that Romero is the most usable post changes of this, because I think he brings a really good kit. And I'm really curious to see the 2 of them together. Him getting this attacks all enemies 3 times, and Juliana gets to ignore 50% of the target's defense when they're together. That's a pretty decent buff for a nuker. And then finally, Aena. Hey, she's going to be useful for single target bosses, putting up a decreased defense and a weaken. I think that makes her a candidate for the one of my comps for Demetha. So we're going to probably bring her out that when she's built up. So looking pretty good. We'll see whether or not Black Knight's probably the biggest question mark, but I think all of them, I feel better about these 4 than the last 4. That's for sure. The last 4 were very underwhelming. These 4 actually bring these guys in line with usability again. I think if you have Juliana, you're an early game player, and you just saw this buff, I think this is really exciting, especially if you have Romero as well. If you have Romero, start using him. He's really good, and these buffs just make him much better in that support role. And of course, Aena, any boss that you're having problems with, there's one champion. Sure, she doesn't put it on the same attack order, which is a bit of a pain, but you can get around that by using extensions, spreads, that sort of thing. So there's some really good potential with Aena, and if she hits really hard, which she does, with these abilities, I think she could be a very good addition to a team. So yeah, good job, Plarium. I think, I mean, we'll see. But I think this is more in line with what we're looking for when we talk about buffing epics. We don't need them to be overpowered. We don't need it to be from 0. We don't need Candrafon or Salad level buffs, or King Garag, which everyone forgets about. His buffs actually were really significant to him. But nonetheless, they put them in line with the other epics, and they make them usable again. I had Juliana as a C tier when I was kind of looking at her. That puts her into a B. Romero potentially high B, potentially into an A, maybe. But yeah, awesome. I look forward to testing them all. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching the video. I will be back again within the week with another I Built Them So You Don't Have to. But in the meantime, please be kind, be safe, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.